to the TMZ podcast. I'm Charlie Neff.
I'm Derek Kaufman.
Wow, Derek in the building.
You know, it must be something legal going on, right?
Yeah,
we're going to have something in here that a lawyer needs to be on.
Yes, obviously Derek is one of our top lawyers.
Thank you.
One of them, not the.
I know. So when there's only two, you're definitely calling me the second best lawyer of the company.
He's great, I promise. But we have a lot of topics to get in today. Big news, Taylor Swift has officially endorsed Kamala Harris for president.
We have been waiting for this.
Wow. And what an endorsement she gave. We'll get into that. Also, Diddy is being sued for monstrous behavior, allegations of brutality, and sexual abuse. Wild story. We'll get into that as well. Shocking news. Dave Grohl from the Foo Fighters is admitting he fathered a baby outside of his marriage. And
this came out of left field.
Wow.
No one was expecting this.
Yeah. And it seems like he's trying to work it out with his current wife. And then also Jonas and Sophie Turner have officially finalized their divorce. It's been kind of a nasty one. But
it has, but I've got a good take on it. We'll get into it when we get into that case.
Okay. All right. Starting off, last night was the presidential debate, Donald Trump versus Kamala Harris.
What a ride.
First time we've really seen her speak like this in this kind of setting against Trump. And I think a lot of people felt she crushed it.
Yeah, you know, I think she was in her element. She is a prosecutor by nature. She was the California Attorney General. She's comfortable in a scrum. She can debate her face off. And Donald Trump, you know, I thought held his own in certain ways, but she was just pecking at him.
She was fiery.
Yeah, she was really, really good, really strong. People have been wondering, why is she not giving more interviews? Why is she not giving more press conferences? Are they hiding her? People's minds are like, what are her policies? I think she came out and she had some concrete policy ideas. She certainly went after Donald Trump very, very hard and effectively. And I thought she had a good debate night.
I thought she did too. And obviously Taylor Swift thought that she had a great debate night as well because she finally endorsed her. And she posted a lengthy statement basically saying she felt that Kamala is a steady-handed, gifted leader, and I believe we can accomplish so much more in this country if we are led by calm and not chaos. But I loved the signature at the end because at the end of her statement, she put, you know, Taylor Swift, childless cat lady. And the photo she used was of her. She used of her and her cat, Benjamin.
It's so funny because J.D. Vance obviously dug his own grave when he went after childless cat lady. She famously has a cat named Olivia Benson, right?
Yeah, she has several. But
several cats.
This no one was Benjamin in the photo.
And she is childless, I guess, as of now, although she's not single, obviously, with Travis Kelce. Here's what, was not that surprising, right? She endorsed Biden. We knew that her leanings were going to be in that direction. The timing of it was going to be important. And she waited until all the eyeballs were on the debate stage. Kamala did very well on the debate stage, and then she launched it. I thought it was pitch perfect. She might have waited a little longer to give her a bounce closer to the election. But this is good for her because even though celebrity endorsements typically don't move the needle that much, no one who supports Donald Trump is all of a sudden going to support Kamala Harris because of this endorsement. But Taylor might be different, right? You know, Kim Kardashian supported Hillary Clinton. It obviously didn't work in that election.
And Taylor has endorsed some past politicians like House of Representatives and stuff like that. And, you know, I think it was the governor had lost that she had endorsed. So it doesn't necessarily always work, but it can be helpful.
It can. And here's what I think is different. Whereas most of America can see Hollywood as, oh, that's just liberals over there. We're going to ignore them. Kim Kardashian, all those people, we're going to just ignore what they have to say. They're not going to impact us. Taylor Swift came from country, right? She came from country music. So she has more bona fide. She's a bit, not blue state. She's sort of purplish, right? She's like red state and blue state sort of combined together. And I think she could sway some of her fans. Now, it's also risky. She could turn off a lot of her conservative fans with this, right? So she took a little bit of a risk, but she did it with Biden.
Fans, as of right now, kind of know where she stands politically. So it wasn't really a surprise.
You listen to You Need to Calm Down and songs like that. You're clear where her politics are.
Yes, exactly. But Donald Trump was asked about Taylor weighing in on the political race. And on Fox and Friends, he responded, and here's what he had to say.
Where after the debate last night, Taylor Swift endorsed Kamala Harris. What do you think?
Well, I actually like Mrs. I actually like Mrs. Mahomes much better, if you want to know the truth. She's a big Trump fan. I was not a Taylor Swift fan. It was just a question of time.
Hilarious.
He had this locked and loaded ever since Brittany Mahomes, Patrick Mahomes' wife. liked a few posts, right?
Taylor,
and she's close with Taylor. And look, they were seen hugging very recently. So everyone thought, oh, is there going to be a rift because they have different political leanings? Obviously not, but he took the opportunity to take a little pot shot.
Yeah, and see, these kind of responses I think people like from Donald Trump.
I do too.
Last night, he did not look so good. He looked very irritable. I think he said before he wasn't going to prepare, and you could tell.
You can definitely tell. You know what's so striking? I'll just leave it at this. When they did the closing statements, hers was, here's my vision of an America in the future as we turn the page and we have more in common than we have differences. And his last words were something like, she's the worst vice president in American history. And then it was just over. It was just so much hope and positivity.
Yeah.
And his message is very, very
sad and down.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Moving on to Diddy. He's been sued. Derek, I know you've been working on this morning. What's going on?
So Dawn Richard, who was a member of Danity Kane.
Yes, very famous.
The famous band that Diddy put together. And obviously members of that band, it's an all-female group, have said various
Aubrey
things.
O'Day.
Yes.
Yeah, it was very famous. They had a TV show.
They had a TV show making the band. Dawn Richard has now sued Diddy, and she has alleged absolutely horrific brutality, sexual abuse. The allegations are different than other lawsuits. It's things that she witnessed or says she witnessed, went on with Cassie and Kim Porter, who was
his baby mama.
Diddy's baby mama. Obviously, famously, she passed away some years ago, but she says that she saw Kim Porter crying as she left a music studio in 2005 with her face all banged up. In 2009, she says she personally witnessed Diddy, high on drugs, throw Cassie against a wall, choke her, drag her up a flight of stairs in his home. Horrific abuse allegations, some of them very specific. He says that Diddy also hurled a scalding pan of eggs at Cassie and yelled, "I've been asking you for my shit. I can't stand you, bitch. You never do it right." It's horrific.
Horrible.
When you read this lawsuit, and I've read several of these Diddy lawsuits, it's the specifics that really ground it, right? Because when you read general allegations, you often think, well, did this really happen or is someone just making this up with a lawyer? Yeah. These are so specific, scalding eggs and things like that. Also, this is not the first allegation. Obviously, we've seen the Cassie video. Yes. And when you hear another person, it kind of corroborates what you're hearing. So you're more likely to believe it. This is horrific. Now, some people have come out in support of Diddy and said, look, he drove us hard. He was trying to get excellence out of the group, but he wasn't abusive. But this is damaging. This is going to be hard for him.
Very damaging, yeah. And I mean, this is just like another thing piling on to the list of allegations against him. And I can't imagine
criminal investigation.
Yep. And he just got hit with that $100 million. What was it?
Yeah, the inmate got a $100 million default judgment. I think that one will probably go away, but nevertheless,
but still,
the wall's just closing in on Diddy. It's very, very upsetting just to read these things. And it had gone, I wouldn't say it had gone quiet recently, but there hadn't been as much Diddy news constantly. And now we're in another period where the $100 million default judgment, you're hearing more allegations. You know, I think it's all coming to a head, and that criminal investigation is what everyone is waiting on. Is there going to be an indictment? And when you hear the horrific things like this, if the feds have looked at any of these instances or alleged instances, it's going to be bad for him.
Absolutely. And, you know, another thing, too, is Aubrey O'Day. A lot of people have wanted to hear her side. She, of course, was like kind of the main person in Danity Kane, along with Dawn Richards. But we had Aubrey O'Day in our special, and she didn't really say what her experience was with Diddy, other than, you know, one day I'll tell my story. And I'm curious if this lawsuit with Dawn Richards will encourage Aubrey to finally share.
It's interesting. A lot of what Aubrey was saying was that he's a really hard-nosed businessman. He iced us out of the profits of the band. These allegations are he's abusive. He's a monster. He's a sex trafficker. They're sort of different. I'm curious to see whether Aubrey O'Day will ever delve into these types of allegations, because I think this is what everyone is interested in. That he drives a hard bargain and he collects all the royalties. That you see in Hollywood a lot. So I don't think that's unique.
That's not surprising.
Right.
Exactly.
So Dawn is not only focusing on the things that she says she witnessed went on with Kim Porter and Cassie, she also has allegations about what Diddy did to her. And so what she's saying is that he drove her very, very hard, would work for sometimes 48 hours at a time, 2 nights in a row, all-nighters. She also says that he once barged into her dressing room while she was naked at his recording studio and inappropriately touched her breasts and butt. So this is now allegations that he's not only abusing the women that he's dating, but also someone that he's working with. This was just a member of the band. She didn't date Diddy or anything like that.
She also claims that her dad came from Baltimore to New York to basically free his daughter from Diddy and confront him. And Diddy told the dad, saying, think about your daughter, like think about Dawn, think about your daughter's career.
This is the part that, oh my gosh, this is the part that tugged at my heartstrings the most, because a father hearing these sort of horrific things going on and running to save his daughter, and I believe she might have been barricaded in a car at the time, locked herself in a car to sort of save herself. It's absolutely horrific. And for Diddy, according to these allegations in this lawsuit, at least to say, hey, not even really deny it that much, but say, just think about her career. If you're going to come after me, I'm a very powerful person.
Right.
It's a really sort of monstrous behavior that's alleged in this. So we'll see if any of it sticks. Obviously, Diddy is going to comment on this, and he's going to have to comment to a lot of different allegations. I assume he will deny most of them, but man, this is messed up stuff.
Yeah, and we have not heard from Diddy's side yet. Okay, moving on to Dave Grohl. Shocking statement yesterday, admitting he fathered a baby outside of his marriage. So he has been married to Jordan Blum for quite some time, since 2003. They have 3 daughters together, an 18-year-old, 15-year-old, 10-year-old. Well, he revealed yesterday that he has fathered a child outside of his marriage. He did not reveal the identity of the woman he fathered the child with, but just said that he's grateful for the consideration.
Trying to earn back the trust.
Trying to earn back the trust of his wife and his children. So it makes it sound like they're probably not okay with this.
My jaw dropped to the floor because this announcement came out of nowhere. Dave Grohl, he's a rock star, obviously. Nirvana, Foo Fighters. He's been in the game for a long time. He's a legend. But he sort of projects kind of a family man image to the public with Jordan and their 3 kids. But this is some rock star behavior to have a baby out of wedlock and so forth. And I was just so surprised to see an announcement like this from Dave Grohl, because I have a certain conception in my head of who he is. And I obviously it's a family matter. He's turned off comments. He just wanted to make the announcement so that the family wasn't embarrassed by some revelation, I assume, where it got out in the media or something like that. But this was a tough one to take. What was your feeling on this? Were you just as shocked as I was? I mean, Diddy lawsuits you see all the time. But
it's sad because, he's been with his wife for so long. And by the way, she is beautiful.
She's gorgeous, yeah.
And it just makes me think, it makes me feel so sad for marriages that if you can be so pretty and so loyal as his wife and then still be cheated on, Beyonce's been cheated on, right?
It's
I'm just where is the hope? Where is the stability? It really bothers me. And look, if they work it out, if they don't, whatever, that's their business, how they decide to move forward. But I think that would be really hard to stay with somebody.
Did you read about the story where when they met, he sort of saw her in a bar and said, "You're going to be my future ex-wife." And so now that story is coming out.
And he has been married before. This is his second marriage.
He's a rock star. I mean, there's a lot of temptation out there.
But then don't be married.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. A lot of, it's not really an excuse. If you're not ready for marriage and that kind of commitment, don't take someone's heart into your hands and then just crush it like that. So this is a very, very sad story. I do hope it kind of works out. There is a kernel of a good guy in Dave Grohl. You can just see it. He's been in the public for so long, and they've got the kids involved. So I'm hoping the best for them.
And, I'm also thinking not only has he had intercourse with another woman outside of his marriage, but unprotected sex, that kind of makes it feel even more gross.
It's a different level.
Yes. Okay, so moving on to almost news. Joe Jonas and Sophie Turner have finalized their divorce, if you guys remember. This was kind of nasty. She had said that they needed to live in England. He wanted to keep the kids here because they do share 2 children together.
They cited child abduction statutes at some point. Do you remember that? Where it was one wants to be in England, so there's an abduction going on. This was wild.
We knew that something had happened in their marriage where Joe saw something on camera that he felt was relationship ending, and that is why they broke up. There was also these reports that Joe felt that she was partying too much without the children. So there was some nastiness going back and forth. Well, we have obtained some new legal documents which show they settled their divorce and a judge has signed off. And, the terms are confidential, but they did previously go to mediation to work it out.
That's the key. So things started very hostile. And we're seeing this now with J-Lo and Ben Affleck. Things start really nasty. That's why divorces typically start. Whenever someone says we're amicably separated, I always sort of roll my eyes because you don't really separate if it's all that amicable.
Right.
You try to work things out in a marriage.
Or conscious
uncoupling and things like that. But this is hopeful for me because they got out their emotions. She parties too much. They're both in new relationships and they've settled. This is what divorce should end like, in a confidential settlement. They've got young children. Obviously, we would love to know the details as a news organization, but they went to mediation, they worked it out, and now they're turning the page in their life. So I actually see this as a happy ending to this sort of sad story, right? I mean, it started very emotions high, and now they sort of leveled off. So, this is good. This is good from where I'm. They shouldn't be married. New beginnings. There you go. That was my take on this. Is this is not all that sad. This is the way it should go when everyone calms down a little bit.
Yes. All right. Today in history, these are things that happened on this day in the past. Obviously,
is there any other day in history?
I mean, there are a little bit, but, obviously today we think of 9/11, the horrific attack on America, where America was the target of 4 coordinated terrorist attacks. It is Patriot Day and National Day of Service and Remembrance Day.
Yeah.
In that same vein, it is also Make Your Bed Day.
Oh, interesting.
Did you make your bed this morning?
I didn't, but Mary is still sleeping in it, so it's hard to make it over Mary.
Oh, I see. See, Johnny's on the couch right now.
What?
He's been snoring. So I'm like, I need my beauty sleep. And, all night kicking him, nudging him, shaking him. I can't do it anymore.
So you need your beauty sleep, but why did you get the bed and he gets the couch?
Well,
That's the way it works out?
He likes the couch because there's the big, sliding door. He gets the fresh air.
That's what I always say. I prefer the couch.
I encourage him, it's great, fresh air over there. Don't worry. He'll make it back to the bed, but he's got to figure out his snoring situation. This day in 1995, Sailor Moon made her debut in the U.S. for the first time.
Can you tell me who Sailor Moon is?
Oh my gosh, I am obsessed with Sailor Moon. She's a Sailor Scout. There's a bunch of them. There's Sailor Mars, Sailor Venus, Sailor Mercury. You don't know the song "Fighting Evil by Moonlight"?
Oh wow!
Winning love.
I don't know this at all. This is a piece of pop culture that just passed by me.
It's a girly anime.
Okay.
Sailor Moon is blonde. She talks like this.
Got it.
She's super fun, obviously relatable for me.
So there's girly anime. Also, there's Dragon Ball Z of this era, Pokemon.
Yes.
But this is for the girls. For the ladies.
This is for the girls, and it's basically just badass girls fighting evil by moonlight.
I love it.
But also winning love by daylight.
Okay, beautiful.
She has a romance with Tuxedo Mask, who was kind of my first cartoon crush.
Wow, you're in deep on Sailor Moon.
Yes.
All right, I'm going to show it to Nixie.
Okay, this day in 2004, Sierra featuring Petey Pablo has the #1 song "Goodies."
That is a song I know. Yes.
Okay, that's a good one. Birthdays today: Moby, Harry Connick Jr., and Taraji P.
What a tough birthday to have. September 11th. It's hard to sort of have a happy occasion on September 11th, but happy birthday.
But happy birthday, yeah. Thank you so much for joining us today, Derek.
So much fun.
So much fun, and we'll catch you guys tomorrow.
Thanks.